some people think that James Bond is actually a transferable code name like 007, and that it's a different Bond, and that explains why it's a different actor in each movie, but that's not true, because there are too many times. There was enough For Your Eyes Only, you know, they're mourning over the same dead wife. So it's the same character, it's the same guy.
So what I think they do is, you know how Q makes all the different devices? I think the same, maybe it was Q, put the same brain into different bodies, so it's the same brain going in, but it's still the same guy.
Really? Does 007 have any, like, hidden meaning?
All the agents have different numbers, right? I think GoldenEye had 006, and then it was 007.
But why not just have it 7? Like,
yeah, what is the
why
00, like
leading
all that?
zeros?
Why couldn't it, that's what I mean. Like,
well, they talk about the double O's being the, like, top-of-the-line agents, right? So there could only be 10 of them at any given time, assuming there's a 000 somewhere, although that's the lamest one. Poor guy.
Did the first 6 agents fail before him? Because I think that's something special about 007, because he's the one that goes on.
And is there an 8 and 9? Did they, like, hire anyone after him?
They have mentioned if he gets killed, then 008 would take over, but he's never had to.
Is the number like their rank, like 7, like 6 is better than 7 and 5 is better than 6?
No, just they come off an assembly line, just a factory of agents, basically.
Does this mean that British intelligence can only have 1,000 agents? Because they, you know,
they run out of
they
digits,
get up to 999.
If they run out of digits, we are fucked.
Maybe they get triple agents at that point. I mean, I think 00 means they have a license to kill, right?
If you carry a 00 number, it means you're licensed to kill.
Is there a DMV that gives you a license to kill?
You just go into your DMV and say, yeah, license to kill, that's what I'm applying for.
5 minutes later, like, cop cars are like outside the DMV.
It's a Class K license.
They're like pushing the button underneath. Like, this guy's crazy.
Does anybody ever ID Bond in any of the movies? Does he ever actually show his license to kill?
On the street, people are horrified that he's just, you know, shot somebody in the head, and he just whips it out, and he's like, it's okay, I've got this. And people are like, oh, I'm untraumatized now.
Here's a nice little transmitting device called a Homer.
Desmond Llewellyn, he played Q in, like, almost all the movies, like, since the second one. They've had the same actor playing Q, and then all of a sudden, right when they retire him, they have this big farewell scene. He goes down through the floor, and then the actor dies, like, almost right away. But how did they know? Did they actually see into the future?
Maybe after they lowered him into the pit, they started just covering it with dirt.
So basically, when he went down there, that was it for him.
He knew too much.
Q knew too much.
That's true. He had 40 years of British government intelligence, gadgetry knowledge at that point.
If we went back to Q being multiple Qs, they're just retiring that shell.
So the theory would be that the entire British intelligence service is made of some kind of life form that exists in the shells of human beings. So,
well, that's what I was saying before. Like, he's got a brain.
Yeah,
so different brains.
So Q or somebody takes James Bond's brain and plants it into a new body,
right.
A new James Bond. But likewise, they could just take the Q.
Oh, so they're doing the same thing with Q then.
Yeah.
So they took Q and they put him into John. That's why John Cleese looks different. It's still the same Q. It's just a different brain.
But what are they? I mean, are they avatars?
I mean, it's a reverse Cylon, because with Cylons, the bodies are all the same, so it's shell upgrades.
Oh, or the brain could download into a new body.
Well, maybe it's a spirit, and each of them is possessed.
So maybe James Bond was a spirit entity that existed before, and it happened to inhabit one of their agents. They're like, well, that guy's really good with the spirit in him, so, you know, whatever, James Bond, he's a 00 now, and, like, whenever the body dies, because eventually
his spirit 00 is, ooh. He never has any leftover gadgets that Q gave him that he doesn't need to use.
They usually all blow up or they're destroyed, the gadgets.
Yeah, but it's not like Q's like, here's a laser watch, and then Bond goes, too bad I didn't get to use this laser watch. It's always exactly when you need it.
All the movies should end with him dumping the unused gadgets into the garbage.
There should be a scene where he's like on a train or something, and he's like, alright, I need that laser watch. Oh shit, I used it in the last movie. Like, I don't have it this time. And then he dies.
Q might be actually a supervillain himself. So Q, bear with me on this one, Q gives Bond exactly the gadgets that Bond needs every time. He knows exactly what Bond is going to face every single time there's a mission.
So if he knows that, he must be a bad guy because he knows what's coming.
Yeah, because he knows what all the bad guys are up to. Every single bad guy since the beginning of Bond working for MI6, Q has known what they're up to ahead of time, meaning he's actually the one in control at the top of the ladder. So when he died, he didn't actually die. He just brought himself out of MI6 because he's ready to enact the second part of his plan now.
Always have an escape plan.
That is quite a theory. I agree with it.
Well, hot damn.